G'day gamers, Ranger Tony here with another episode of Rise to Ruins. So we are still plugging away in Norfolk. We have 12 monsters against us. I think it's midday, if I remember rightly, on about day 8 or 9. And we have a total of 44 villagers. We are in the process of building our defensive walls. So we've just queued up a huge section of wall here. We're waiting for them to clear out this area here so that none of our guys get stuck when they build this last two sections of wall. And we're not going to build a wall here. We're going to leave that open and we're going to build these two sections here. And then we're going to have just a little bit of a mazy corridor that snakes back and forth through to here. Oh, Gilda Herbertson was born. Welcome to our little village, Gilda. Yes, we're going to have a little path that they enter about here, and it snakes through like this and then comes through here. But we're going to put a little gate, a wooden gate there and a wooden gate there, so that much similar to what you would do in RimWorld. I've done this exact same build in RimWorld. The only difference is in RimWorld, I line the corridor with steel traps, right? And then you have you have doors that only you can open because the enemy won't open them. In this case, they're gates. And it allows my guys to walk through there and through there without having to loop all the way through the maze to get out, right? So this is going to be the same thing. And the monsters follow it. I've actually tested this out already. It works brilliantly. I don't think we're going to have it finished on this episode, but it will probably be ready for the night of day 10. I would guarantee that we'll be able to see it then. And at that point, once we've done all of that, we can finish off our north-south wall that we've got here. We're just clearing some crystal out that we don't want to use. It's probably going to come back and bite us later that we're actually just destroying that crystal rather than harvesting it, but it's going to be in the way when we build. We already had 2 people trapped right here by the crystal when they built that tiny little section of wall and they couldn't get out. Or no, it was right here maybe. I don't know. It was somewhere along here. And one of them ended up dying of starvation and another one almost died because we recognised at the last second what was going on and managed to save them. So, that's what we're up to. Just a quick glance around the map to see if there's any sparklies. Not that I really want them, but I'm just being thorough. No, let's have a look at the bad guys. Oh, look, they've managed to... And isn't it interesting how the blight, and partly them foresting, I guess, just destroys all of those... That was just big bands of forest through there, and it's all just been worn away. So I am definitely glad that I am building this wall here because I don't think it will be very long at all before they've destroyed this section here. And once this section here is destroyed, they've got a pretty well straight path right there through to my base. So and even here, this is getting close to them being able to come through this way and get to the back of my base through here. So I really have to be careful. At the moment, they're still preferring to come across the top and come down to attack me that way, but I'm going to have to block these sections off sooner rather than later. So yes, so what I can do is I can just finish this wall here, leaving this gap here, and just finish that, and that will be enough. I don't have to put the zigzag in straight away. That should still be enough to stop them. In fact, what I could do is I could leave the gap in the wall over here. I could temporarily close this with a gate. Right? I can put a wooden gate in here and I can close these 2 sections and leave this section open, and that will force all the monsters to come down here and then walk along the gate, along the wall. Well, actually, some of them will probably come in and come down this way towards the wall, but it'll stop them. And what I might do is temporarily create an outpost just over here so that at least my guards can come near this and do stuff. If I do that, I think that's actually a pretty good idea before I do the zigzag. Then, once I've done enough of that I can survive the night fairly well, concentrating the next day on getting the rest of this vertical wall done, I think, is the next step. And I don't think that's going to be too hard. Like, we haven't even started mining that clump of stone there. This clump used to extend down this way a little bit, and we've mined all that out, just this part out so far. Meteor showers. This is one part of the game that I don't like. I think I've mentioned it in another video, but it sort of feels like your opponent, whoever it is that runs the Blight, they have a free rein to start casting spells in the area that you control. I can't see where these are coming down, actually. Are they even coming down in my area at all? I don't see any fires. Oh, they're landing over here and here. So they're doing minimal damage to me. But the thing is, and here they go. The thing is, I can't, like, I've got a meteor spell myself. I can cast that. You have no power here. So I can't cast this into the middle of their area, but they can do the exact same spells I can. They can do earthquakes. They can do storms. They can do all that stuff into my area. The best I can do is, if I wanted to, I could cast a storm. Let's do it in this one. Okay, so there is earthquake. I've got no influence here. I can't do that. I could put it here. But they don't have any real buildings here. They just have land covered in blight. So you want to cast it somewhere. It's going to take out their buildings. The problem is, if I cast an earthquake right here, it might actually clear out enough of this area that they get a quick shot that they can come straight through here and attack me. So I'm not going to do that. But it won't let me. All I can do is skirt around the edges of their area. Like, I can cast a storm right there, which might cover an area like this. But I can't cast it in here to take out some of these buildings that they've got and potentially damage them. So that becomes really annoying. Okay, so we actually had very little damage from that. No buildings were directly hit. It was just a little bit of minor damage, and that most of the meteors hit up there. So I can't complain too much, really. We didn't actually get hit by anything. And once again, I've realised that we don't have our little perimeter overlay on that I like to use. Okay, so evening's coming. We don't have much of our wall built. That's fine. Evening's afternoon. I've got to keep remembering that. Evening to me is, like just after the sun goes down. That's evening. It's nighttime. Evening. It's the same thing. For me, after midday is afternoon. Now, it could just be that the developers come from a part of the world where they use that differently. It's like I don't know if you have this wherever you come from. My parents grew up in a little city, couple of 100 miles north of where I live. In that little city, it's more of a regional, rural sort of area. I have dinner, which is the last meal of the day. I have breakfast, I have lunch, I have dinner. In that city, you have breakfast, dinner, and tea. Don't know why, but it's one of those things. And I understand that this is not just an Australian thing. There are other countries in the world where they call dinner tea, and lunch is not called lunch, it's called dinner. Or sometimes, maybe it's just they don't call it dinner at all, they just call it tea. I don't know why. Tea is the stuff that you drink if you like drinking swampy water. I don't like tea, and I don't like coffee either. But I just don't like the smell of tea, or the taste. I'm a bit picky that way. And the reason I don't drink coffee is the smell of coffee when I go to drink it is overpowering. I don't mind the taste. I will occasionally drink an iced coffee, but a freshly brewed cup of coffee, the smell of it is too much. Anyway, that's enough of my thing. You're probably all going IMHO. No, not IMHO. TMI. Oh, God, I can't even get my I can't even get my acronyms right. There's too many acronyms. I work in IT. I work in an industry that thrives on acronyms, to the point that no one's going to understand this. There is a movement in IT amongst the sysadmin community. So people who look after servers. There is this thing called DevOps, and DevOps is this thing of treating all servers as code. So you write code to build the servers and configure them and manage them and all that sort of stuff. And it 20 years ago, that wasn't a thing, really. I mean, you did do little bits and pieces where you'd write scripts to automate things, but this is, for the entire life cycle of that server, from the minute it starts up to the minute you shut it down, you just have code that manages it 24/7. And if you need to put, new software on it, you have code to do releases and all this sort of stuff. And there's a lot to it. And that's really not the full story, though, because part of the reason for doing this is because if you're working with developers who are writing the applications that are going to run on those servers, Stephen Hawkings is in this. I think I've mentioned before that there are a lot of names in here that are based on famous people. There's probably a text file in here somewhere with just a whole bunch of first names and last names, and it probably just randomizes them, but every now and then you get the actual name of some famous person. Anyway, DevOps. So, I know I've actually thought about doing some introductory videos on this stuff on a separate channel. But anyway, DevOps is this idea that if you're working with developers work in this method called Agile. It's a way of planning what they're going to do, planning their tasks and working on them. And it's an attempt to get the code released quickly. So you release often. You write small changes to the code and release it very, very quickly. For all I know, the developers of this game are probably using Agile methodology. And if this game was hosted on if this was an online game, it was hosted on servers, they would probably be using DevOps as a way to manage the servers that the game was running on. So DevOps itself isn't a great name. It was originally called Agile Ops. But not everyone really fully understands what DevOps means, and so it means different things to different people. And we have this thing at work that we call ADO, the acronym. And what that stands for is Automation DevOps. Automation it's sort of like saying ATM. Saying ATM machine. And there's actually is it XKCD or is it breakfast cereal? Early morning breakfast cereal, whatever it's called. I saw an online cartoon just recently, where someone said that it's so annoying having to say ATM machine. Can't we just abbreviate it to ATMM? Well, actually, ATM actually stands for automatic teller machine. So saying ATM machine is saying ATM machine. But the joke of the comic, of course, was that someone didn't realize that and said that we should spell it we should turn it into an acronym of ATMM. And then it became ATMM machine, and so eventually someone was saying, "I need to go to the ATM." And it was silly. Anyway, so we got this acronym at work called ADO. If we work on anything that is to do with DevOps for our client, we're said to be working on ADO. But ADO stands for Automation DevOps. Well, automation is just one of the things that you do in DevOps, so it's a little bit redundant to say that. I work in an industry where acronyms are just everywhere. And I can't even remember what the original acronym... Oh, yes. Too much information when I was talking about something in my personal life. Anyway, back to the game. We are in the night. We're doing well. We're still waiting for this bow tower to be made. I don't know why. It's got all its resources, we just don't seem to have any builders willing to come up here and actually make it, probably because they're all busy building this section of wall here. That's fine. You notice I'm scrolling back and forth. I'm trying to keep an eye out down here just to be sure, because, as I said before, I'm sort of expecting to have a creature just burst through like this gap here and suddenly be in amongst my base. And if I can see it happen before it happens, then, well, there's not a lot I can do about it. Because that's the other thing about this game, and I've mentioned this before. You can't directly control anything. The only thing I can do is use my god powers. So I could, if I can see a monster quickly enough, like see it going through here, for example, I could meteor it, or I could cast a storm on that spot, or earthquake on that spot, and hopefully kill it off before it comes through. The problem is meteor is fine. Actually, the meteor is probably one of the better options here, because it might even block it with rubble of rock and stone. But if I was to cast a storm or earthquake here, I run the risk of actually breaking some of this further and opening it up and making it easier for them to get through, and I don't want that. So, yes, just having to be really, really careful with that at this point. Man, look at all the carnage around this tower. They're really having a go at that bullet tower, though. Has that tower even got any ammo? No, it's out of ammo. That's the problem. Damn it. Do we not have... No, we should have. I'm going to have to put a couple of people back into making ammo. And quickly. I don't know. He must have just run out of ammo. There's plenty of ammo in there. We just need someone to move it forward. I think I reduced the number of organisers before as well. I'm going to drop down the number of miners and increase the number of organisers. Do I have one more? No, I don't. The world... Blight, the world is sick. Of course the world is sick. What do you mean by that? Has the blight spread somewhere even closer to me, or what's the deal? I hope that doesn't mean that there's some accelerated blight growth somewhere that I have to worry about. Trying to clear out all of these dead bodies. Partly to get the essence, but also partly because I want to be able to see what's going on. Yeah, our towers are getting really hard hammering at the moment. But I am very much concerned that we're going to get problems here before long. That was, I think, a child zombie or something. Yeah. Even if I haven't finished this, I am not going to build any more of this wall until I've finished this one. Because I'm really concerned that the blight's going to be here, and I'm going to be getting a lot of breakthroughs down this way if I'm not careful. So this is good. We're repairing the towers here. I think I'm scaring him away by fixing the bodies. Okay, maybe I'll just leave the bodies alone. I want them to fix the towers, please. The towers are getting hammered. We need them fixed. Or is it just the storm that's scaring them? Okay, we've survived the night. How many guards? I've only got 2 guards. Wow. I need as many builders as possible right now. I'm not doing great for food. I am concerned. Yeah, we are. We have a real problem with food at the moment. Okay. I'm very much concerned about food because there's nothing left here for him to collect. Or over there. Or even over here. Wow, we're in trouble. So let's try and get some more food grown over here and over here. Okay, let's hope that fixes our food problem. I need my builders to go to work and get these buildings repaired up. In particular, these towers need to be repaired. Let's move them all to the top of the list. Have a look. How are we doing there? Yeah, you're slowly getting there with the ballista bolts, and you are right on track with those. I'll take one person off that, and you're doing fine there. Very good. Let's put another builder back in. And please, 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 I want people to grow up, and I want more nomads today. I need more builders so that I can get this wall done. They're going to finish that bullet tower, which is going to be very good news. Let's queue up the wooden fence gate north-south right there. And we'll finish this section of wall, and hopefully they'll come all the way along the wall here and attack over here. Let's put that up at the top of the build queue. I think they're repairing a few buildings around here. Yeah, look at that. If they break down this bit here, they've got free reign. I've got to build the rest of this, and I've got to do it now. So I've got to pay special attention to make sure that I don't see anybody trapped on the other side of the fence. If I do, I've got to break down a section of fence or put a gate in. I don't want to put a gate in because I feel like a gate will be a weak point that can be exploited. Like, I don't know. I haven't seen... Well, I have. I played on another map where I had a wall basically like this in a corner. Not in a corner, but it was at the edge of a map. The Blight had basically come up this way, and there was a big range of mountains down here. They had come up this way, and they wanted to come around and attack. And so I put a wall across here, and then I put another wall down here. Well, I had a wall that went up this way to block a gap, and then over to the right, over to the east. So it was a north and then an east, and I put a gate there. And that just became the weak point. That became the focus of their attack for quite a while. But then I think they sent a storm or an earthquake, and it damaged part of the north-south wall. And because that was damaged, then they focused on that and actually came and attack it. And so that may very well happen here if I'm not careful. If any of this north-south wall that I've got along here becomes brittle and damaged, if the blight is right up against it, they may just mob that section of fence and attack it and burst through, even with a hole left up here for them to come through. But I think I'm being warned by that message about the blight. I'm pretty sure I'm being warned that if I'm not careful, the blight is going to come for me very, very soon. Because it feels like they've got a gap through there. They might be able to, well, through here and then back through here, they might be able to get through. I don't know if they can walk over those crystals, but they might be able to get through that way. But the way this all gets eaten away by the blight, as soon as this section here gets eaten away, they've got a perfect gap through here that they can get through. And that's just unacceptable. So that's why this wall has to be done now. I've left this little gap here right now so that when this section is built, if something goes wrong and someone gets trapped over here, they can follow the wall north and slip back through. And as I said, if I absolutely have to, I will put a gate in right here somewhere and let them through, and then we'll destroy the gate later and close it up. I'm not above. I can do there's a recall spell, which is what I should have done with some of the other ones, is when they get stuck in a position where they can't get out, is just use the recall spell and go, and hopefully it'll just shift them over. It's supposed to be if they're over here somewhere and they get stuck and they can't get out, but it would be worth a try if someone was stuck on this side of the fence after I finish making this. So hopefully in the next episode we will finish this wall. I'd like to see some more nomads come, and I'd like to see some of our children grow up, because we've got 5 children at the moment. It feels like some of them have been sitting there for a long time. So there's this one here who's 4 years old. I don't know how old they have to be no longer considered children. But there's 2. Well, there you go. Patty Herbison. She's now 3. Once they're 3, they're grown up. Laura Hawking, is she being said to have grown up as well? No, I'll just put one more on building at the moment. So ask and ye shall receive is the moral of the day. Okay, let's head out as we do. Save and exit, and let's just see how our godhood is going this time, what our experience is. I know it only goes up in little bits, but we're only doing half-hour episodes, 20-odd minute episodes. 1,300. And we're still down to 14 monsters, 45 villages, nearly 2,000 resources. So thank you for joining me for this episode of Rise to Ruins. If you like this episode, please give me a like and share it with your friends. Leave any comments down below, and be sure to subscribe to keep up to date with all the latest videos. Thanks a lot. Bye.